Dear friends, I'm very happy to see you, or I don't see you, but I feel you. I'm very happy to welcome you to our online event about Cyprus. And I'm very grateful that you found time to join us to find out a little bit more about our fantastic, wonderful island. And I will be very happy to share with you my knowledge, my experience. But first of all, before we start and while we're still waiting, I will be very happy if you can write in the chat, where are you now? We are noticing that our webinars are bringing more and more people from all over the world, and it actually helps us create the content for the next webinar more suited for this audience. So I can see Nicosia, London, Tel Aviv, Cambridge, Larnaca, Vienna, Nicosia, London, Munich, Berlin, Oh, we have Bordeaux, This all shows how attractive Cyprus is and how many people are looking to find out more about this fantastic island. So, let's start. And today we decided to call our webinar Unlocking the Potential of Cyprus. Lifestyle, taxation, real estate, investment opportunities, something that can attract everyone. Okay, and let me introduce myself. My name is Anastasia Yianni, and I'm the CEO and partner of Cyprus-Sotheby's International Realty. But apart from my professional experience, I'm also just a person who moved to Cyprus 22 years ago, who is raising family here, who is meeting new friends. So I believe that I always love to share not only professional experience, which is a lot. I'm actually working in Cyprus real estate for over 20 years, okay? But also everything is very personal, and that's how I like it, okay? So that's why during the webinar, you're absolutely open to ask any questions connected to real estate, connected to life in general. And I can see now in the chat our colleagues from London Sotheby's University, and it's really nice to feel ourselves to be part of the network. Sotheby's International Realty is actually one of the largest international brokerage network in the world. Our offices are present in 81 countries. What does it mean in practical terms? In practical terms, it means that now I'm meeting you and you're, let's say, in Israel or in Germany or in the UK. I can understand that at the touch of a button, you can find information about other countries as well. And being part of the global network, we have this information as well. We are able to compare what Cyprus has to offer with the offerings of other countries. This is our beautiful and wonderful team. And it's very important to mention that for us, everything we do is going through the values that we have. Because we understand very well that when you start working with a real estate brokerage, you give us your trust. And what is our job? Our job is provide you with expertise, efficiency, to do our work ethically, and of course, being part of Sotheby's, to do it in style. Our company, we work all over Cyprus with all developers and private sellers. We are working with residential, commercial properties. So we have wonderful property collection and investment collection with high return on investment. What is very important, we are multilingual. So almost all the languages, we will be able to deal with you in your language, making this process even easier. And we have excellent network of trusted partners in legal, accounting, immigration, and other areas. So what are we going to discuss today? We will talk with you about the lifestyle benefits of Cyprus. We will touch base with Cyprus tax system, because of course this is one of the benefits. And we will look a bit into real estate investment opportunities in Cyprus, which also includes potential for high capital appreciation, rental income, and residency. Of course, we will go through the real life cases so you can see, okay, how much will it cost me if I become a property owner and if I move to Cyprus? And I promise to leave lots of time for questions and answers. And please be free. I like to have interactive webinars, so please feel free to ask questions. They are not monitored, so the question as I go along. And if it's suitable for the presentation, I will answer immediately, or we will leave the questions to the end of our webinar and I will answer them. I'm always very respectful to your time, so I will try to finish everything in 1 hour, and we will leave this webinar with more knowledge, okay? And you know, now I think that you all feel this craze about the artificial intelligence. So the first thing that in general I wanted to chat is like, what are the first associations when you hear Cyprus? So let's do, before artificial intelligence, let's chat with you. So when you hear Cyprus, what is your first association? What do you think about? Hot weather. Oh my God, today is very hot already. Euros. Okay, definitely yes. Job and weather. Sunshine. EU security people. Beaches, good diving opportunities. Banks not secure. I will comment on that. Relaxed life. Seaside cities, good airflow. Taxes. Nice people, feel connected, have been many times. Slow lifestyle. You know, to be completely honest, it can be either slow or it can be very fast. Yes, I love this. Food, food, food. You know, we never put it in presentation before, but I am very tempted to put it as a special benefit, food to be completely separate part. Okay. And you know, I told you that I decided to experiment, and I actually asked artificial intelligence. I actually asked ChatGPT what are the first associations. And look what they say. So the first part is beautiful beaches. Cyprus is famous for its stunning beaches which attract tourists from all over the world. And you see even ChatGPT knows Nisi Beach, Fig Tree Bay, and Coral Bay. Greek and Turkish history. Yes, Cyprus indeed has complex history, and the island is divided even until now. So the division dates back to conflict 1974, and to be completely honest, almost at every webinar, I get questions about buying property in the northern part and in southern part. Mediterranean cuisine, you see, AI is thinking more highly about food than we did with our marketing department, and some of the most popular dishes, if you haven't been to Cyprus, remember these names: souvlaki, halloumi, and moussaka. Aphrodite's birthplace. You do know that according to Greek mythology, the goddess of love and beauty was born in Cyprus, actually not far from the city of Paphos. So the island is also known as the island of love because of this myth. And you know, actually, because we're driving all the time past this place, and there are so many nice stories about it. And you know, if you believe in self-motivation, I remember for many years, the first time I came to Cyprus, and our guide told me that if you want to be beautiful, you need to swim about the rock of Aphrodite several times. And there are lots of stories like that. Sun, sea, and party. Cyprus is a popular destination for party. Ancient ruins. Cyprus has a rich history. Halloumi cheese. You see, AI included halloumi in the first associations, and wine production. You know, not many people know, but actually some of the most famous wine produced in Cyprus is Comandare, which has been made in the island for over 4,000 years. Okay, Ruvi, you're right. AI, I agree with you. British influence. The influence of the British can still be seen on the island today. And you know, like now I'm preparing for another law exam. And it's very interesting that we studied how the property law was implemented. And of course, during the British era, lots of laws have been done and they're still there. And that's why, to be honest, the Cyprus Land Registry regulations are one of the best in the world. And copper mining. Okay, so here we had AI. But of course, you know, to be fair, I decided to ask not only about the good things, I also asked about the bad things. Because, you know, especially in the recent years, there were lots of scandals about Cyprus. And again, it's in the past, but still, like, it is, sometimes it haunts us. But, you know, when you see what it is, it's actually just part of the process of development. So, of course, we had the Cyprus Citizenship by Investment Scheme, which was an excellent scheme, but unfortunately, it was not utilized well. The collapse of the Cyprus banking system. I saw the comment in the chat about the banks. You know, the banks now are secure. They're quite difficult, meaning that now they went to a different extreme, and now they are very, very strict. So when I'm going to discuss with you the part about already buying the property, I will definitely mention about how to prepare to make the payments and what documents and what procedures you need to follow. Maria explosion, unfortunately, it was also in recent years in 2011, and another scandal connected again with the citizenship by investment scheme. Again, you know, like if in the grand scheme of things, it's not too much. Okay, and yes, we do drive on the right side of the road. Okay, I am telling from the very beginning that we only operate in the southern part, and everywhere, if you see through, that buying property in the northern part is very risky. In many cases, it's illegal because in many cases, you are buying something that is built on the land that doesn't belong to the people who sell the land. So if there is a solution, it will be a very, very risky endeavor. So everything that I'm presenting today, it's all about Southern Cyprus. And yes, I agree with the comment above that it's only one Cyprus. But unfortunately, until now, it is a divided island. So we listen to AI. Now, let's see what we say about the island. And of course, in this presentation, I go away from emotions, and we're talking more about lifestyle opportunities. Okay? So one of the biggest advantages in Cyprus that it is a safe country. And by safety, it's a big thing, you know, that, right, left. So when we're driving in the car, the steering wheel is on our right-hand side. You see, sometimes it happens. So we are driving the same way as in the United Kingdom, in Great Britain. So let's go back to the advantages. Cyprus indeed is one of the safest countries. And of course, it's not as safe as it was over 20 years ago when I came, but it's still probably one of the safest for many, many points. The education is very good. You know, I'm mother of 2 children, and I studied this quite a lot. So in Cyprus, first of all, education is obligatory for all the children, and all the children have access to education. So there are 3 main systems. There is, regardless of your nationality, your children will have access to the Greek schools, which are free of charge, and they go with the Greek curriculum. There is also an option of English system. In most cases, all the international schools, they go with British curriculum. It's private schools, you pay the fee, but it is so much less than compared to all the other countries. More and more now we can see school of different curriculums. There is French school, there are more and more things are happening. Okay, average cost of private school, it depends. Actually, like now I got invoice for next year, and for year 7, it is about 5,000, and for year 13, my older son will be finishing school, it's about 11,000. But just to give the idea, the private schooling for youngsters start from roughly about 3,000-4,000 per year, and then it goes up depending on the age. And curriculum, it's fully British based, and the level is quite good. There are a lot of lifestyle opportunities, and becoming more and more in the current years, because more and more countries are coming, more and more companies are coming to Cyprus. So, modern banking and legal systems. As we mentioned earlier, that legal system is mainly based on British heritage, so it's precedent law, and all is very clear. All the documents can be drafted in English, so it is very clear to understand what is happening. Banking system is quite modern. Like I mentioned before, it's quite strict, but it is modern, and everything is there. Rich historical heritage, excellent infrastructure, advantageous tax system, which I will cover a bit more. As we mentioned, again, 340 sunny days per year, excellent healthcare, hospitable locals. Cyprus is an island, but it has global connections, so it's very easy to travel everywhere. English language widely spoken, and more other languages are spoken as well. So when you come to Cyprus, you really don't feel as a foreigner. It's always very easy to settle in Cyprus. Okay, let's see what questions we have. Okay, 11,000 euros a year for school if your child is in the senior school, and if you are opting for a private schooling, then yes, this is roughly the price. But you also have a choice to go to the Greek school. Yes, it is Greek language, but it is completely free of charge for everyone. Okay? So, let's look a little bit at living costs. Of course, we need to understand that living costs, someone can spend very little, someone can spend a lot, depending on your habits, depending on your requirements, depending on your lifestyles. But just to give you an idea, utility bill is, if you are having a big family, if you're living in a house, your utility bills per month will be around 140. In certain cases, it's much less, okay? So that's absolutely right. Let's say if, and you know, Ioannis, I don't really like to go with something very, very small, because yes, like you mentioned, you don't use air conditioning, so you pay less than 50 euro per month electricity. My parents don't use much water, they pay less than 20 euros per water, so it can be much, much less. But let's stick to the average. So when we're talking about mobile tariff, it's about 0.1 euro for 1 minute. Internet, around 30 euros per month. Petrol now, unfortunately, we all witnessed huge increase in petrol costs, but petrol in Cyprus now is about 1.4 euro per liter. Public transport, which is getting better and better every year, is 150 for a trip. And also you can get a monthly ticket. If your child is a student, the cost is much less. Restaurant meal, again, it can be 10 euros, it can be 7 euros, it can be 50 euros, it can be 100 euros. But even with 13 euros, you can have a very, very decent meal. Insurance, from around 200 euros. Again, this is average. So if you want to find a bit more and go into detailed analysis of your questions and situation, you see on top of representation, you have a red button where you can book your free consultation, and we will answer every question. So let's go to tax advantages. Of course, I'm making from the very beginning the disclaimer that we are not professional tax advisors, but if you have tax query, we will be able to refer you to good tax advisors. But you know, on this slide, we have 3 zeros, which I think wherever it refers to taxes, it's a fantastic figure. So in Cyprus, if you become tax residents, meaning that you live in Cyprus either more than 183 days or in certain cases just more than 60 days, you will have 0 tax on passive income. This is the reason why many people are moving to Cyprus, because they can enjoy the lifestyle that I described before and have 0 tax. What is also very important, that Cyprus is not an offshore destination. It's very clean and very clear tax regulations, okay? Property tax in Cyprus has been cancelled, so the general property tax is 0. Of course, there is municipal tax and other taxes which will be based on the sizes of your property, but property tax is 0. In Cyprus, we have no inheritance tax, which I think, again, like when in many countries there is inheritance tax, it's so cruel. But in Cyprus, it's 0. If you are retired and you come to Cyprus, pension tax, and again, if you become tax resident, pension tax is only 5%. If you move your company to Cyprus, the corporate tax is still 12.5%. Of course, if you go with IT company and in certain businesses, the tax will be even lower. So 12.5 is a general corporate tax, but for many, many businesses, it is much less. Okay. Now let's go to the property related permanent residency, because it's one Okay, let's go back a little bit on taxes. Okay, what is the age for pension? If you're a foreigner, you will be getting your pension from the country of your residence. So you will need to check what is the tax there. But if there is a double taxation treaty between our countries, and I will double check if we have it with Israel, then you will not be paying tax in your country. You will only be paying here based on the 5%. Okay, can you explain the 0% tax on passive income for non-domicile? Do you mean the special defense tax? Yes, this is the special defense tax, because if you're a tax resident in Cyprus, then you'll have to pay it. If you're not, then you're considered non-domicile and you do not pay special defense tax. Okay, so now let's move to the second part of my presentation, because if you are not Cypriot, then if you come to Cyprus and if you want to spend longer to enjoy all the benefits, you need to stay in the country legally. And what options do we have? First of all, if you are from Europe, then you can enjoy the basic freedom that all European citizens have. And one of the freedom is the freedom to move and settle within the European Union. It means that you can come to Cyprus freely and you can stay here as long as you want to. You can work here and be employed here, and you can also be registered with YESI. I saw the question up in the chat about medical system, and in Cyprus we have, in my opinion, a fantastic government medical healthcare scheme called YESI. Okay, it's quite recent and there were lots of questions about it, but now it's fantastic. So if you're a European citizen, then you are eligible to this system. And there you have your private GP, and when you need to go and see a specialist, it will only cost you €6. Okay? So, but even if you are from EU, you still need to register your stay in Cyprus. So after 4 months or within 4 months of entering Republic, you will need to register with local immigration department and obtain a yellow slip. Very simple procedure, and we will share with interested listeners our presentation, and of course we will be able to answer this. What if you are not from Europe? Vitaly asked. And Martin, you are British people, now not classed as European, so you need to go with this slide, which is Cyprus residency for non-EU. And there are 3 ways, okay? The first way, let's start from the sort of easiness, if I may say so. So the easiest part, or the most transparent in a way, it's the Cyprus Permanent Residency by investment for non-Europeans. Okay, so the name already tells it that this is permanent residency by investment, when the government created a scheme of bringing direct investment to the country, and also by that allowing interesting people to stay in the country as long as they want to. So the program has been amended recently, and actually just today we received more clarifications about this scheme. So if you want to go to get permanent residency by investment, then you need to invest at least €300,000 plus VAT if it's applicable. Okay? And what are the benefits? First, it's 300,000 plus VAT. Compared to many other European countries, it is lower threshold. The status is granted to investor, the spouse of investor, and dependent children up to the age of 25. What does it mean, dependent children? If they are married and if they're student, they can still proceed with this application, just with one application and one investment. At the moment, there are no language exams, no medical tests, no interview. There are no tax consequences unless you want to become the tax resident, and I explained higher that it is quite beneficial. And the application processing period is quite short. In fact, in the new changes to the legislation, the government says that the application period will be 2 months. Last year it was about 4 to 6 months, but let's wait and see. And as I mentioned earlier, there are several ways of investment. Let's call them investment vehicles. You can go either with investment in residential property, and it can be 1 or 2 properties. It can be commercial real estate. It can also be investment in the share capital of a company registered in Cyprus, or investment in units of Cyprus investment funds. If you invest in something apart from residential unit, you will also need to show that you have a place to live, either the contract of sale or rental agreement. And to be completely honest, because in most cases people use this type of permit when they want to move to Cyprus, most people go with residential property, and we mainly work with this sort of investment. These are the new procedures. So on the 2nd of May, there were some changes. The amount stayed the same. It's important to say that the funds have to come from abroad, from the bank account of the main applicant or her spouse. Today, there was a clarification that they can also come from the business, from the company account, if you are the shareholder. It is very important to show the secured annual income. And if you want to go by this permit, you need to show a secured annual income of at least 50,000 euros for the main investor, additional 15,000 for the spouse, and additional 10,000 for every minor child. All adult application must provide clean criminal record, and there will be a need for a health insurance certificate. What is very important, that at the moment there is no minimum requirement, minimum stay requirement. So in many cases, people get this permanent residency just to have it as a insurance in a way. Okay. Okay. There was a question from Linda. If you are an EU citizen, but your spouse isn't, do they also get residency through being married to an EU citizen? Yes. Yes, Linda. There is a possibility if your marriage is registered, then yes, your spouse can get a yellow slip based on the marriage. Okay. So if people don't proceed with the permanent residency by investment, there is also another category of permanent residency, which is called category F. And here it is not connected to a specific amount of investment, but you still need to show the connection to Cyprus. Okay, so it can be either ownership of a property or any amount. It can be long-term rentals contract. If you also, excuse me, if you also have another connection with Cyprus, there is still necessity to provide the proof of annual income. For this category, it's still 30,000. We expect that there could be some changes, but at the moment, that's what is there. And there is also important to have some money in the account in Cyprus. Okay. What is also a very important thing, that with category F, your children are only covered up to the age of 18. With the previous permit, they are covered even higher. Another big difference, with a permanent residency by investment, you can open a company and you can be a director of the company. With category F, you cannot. Another big difference is that the permanent residency by investment, the review time, as I mentioned, with the new regulations, the government promises 2 months, but even in practice, we can see 4 to 6 months. With category F, the previous one was 12 to 18 months, but now it is even longer. Okay, so there are pluses and minuses of every type of permit. And of course, there is also a temporary residence permit. It is available in Cyprus, and again, the difference is that with the permanent residence, you don't need to renew it every year. With temporary residence, you need to. Okay, so there was a question about the working permit. There is a legislation in Cyprus where the companies can get working visas for the employees. So of course, for Nigerians, it's important to get the working permit. Okay, that's an excellent question from Lucille about the relocation of the company. In this presentation and in this webinar, we do not cover it, but we can cover it, and let me just, because it's a very interesting thing, let me just mention it. In Cyprus, there is another way we encourage foreign businesses to come here. So if you bring the business, as you mentioned, you can open your company, and under certain criteria, you can bring your employees, and the government will issue working visas for the employees. Okay, so let's do 2 more questions about permanent residency. Is it complicated to renew? The permanent residency, you do not need to renew. This is the beauty of the permanent residency. It's permanent. Unless you cease to fulfill the criteria, and the criteria are that if you get permanent residency by investment, then you need to keep this property worth 300,000 euros. So you don't need to renew, and also you cannot be absent from Cyprus. Oh, I'll put it differently. You have to visit Cyprus at least for 1 day every 2 years. Okay, non-permanent residency, you know, it's quite bureaucratic, and it is, it's not difficult. Let's just say it's time consuming, it's bureaucratic, and it's tiring. So if there is an option, I would always advise to go for a permanent residency, either by investment or with category F. And while you're waiting for the category F, you will go for the non-permanent, for temporary residence. And don't worry, there are so many wonderful immigration lawyers. When it becomes important, we will definitely help you. So now, let's go to relocation through property investment. So, let's say that you already decided that yes, Cyprus could be an interesting place. I can see that it has excellent lifestyle that fits my need. I can see that the tax system is good, the healthcare, the schooling is good. There is immigration permit for me to stay. So what is happening next? And the first thing, and I would say the most important thing, is to understand what you want. You know, it's so important to think, to do your homework, to understand what you want. And actually, we prepared the whole checklist for that. And when we are doing our private consultation, we always discuss with you these questions. What do you want? Why do you want to buy in Cyprus? Because maybe in very rare cases, maybe Cyprus will not be ideal solution. And again, because we have the knowledge of other countries as well, maybe we can even refer or recommend a different direction for you. But so you think about, why do I want to buy in Cyprus? Is it residency? Is it my holiday home? Is it full relocation, etc., etc.? Which area in Cyprus is best for me? Because, you know, surprisingly enough, Cyprus is such a small place, but every area is different. It has different vibe, it has different energy. So, like, even in these small place, you feel like there are 4 different areas. And if you're interested, the girls will put in the chat the link to our webinar where we discuss different areas. How much am I willing to invest? What is my budget? What is the property type that is suitable for me? And of course, additional big and small requirements. We would always go like, what are your wishes? What is your dream house? What is your dream investment? Because it's like, now I can see the question about investment. Even investment can be a dream investment. What do I want to achieve? What percentage I want to get as return on my money? So this is important. With big and small requirements, is it seaside, sea view, golf, hills, city center? In our website, we even created different lifestyles, so it's easy to check what properties are suitable. And now, because, and again, that was a good question in investment, and I promise to answer it later. In my opinion, every purchase of the house, even if it's for you personally, it should be considered as investment as well, because we're talking about investment of substantial funds. So that's why it's very important to understand how the price works in Cyprus. What are liquidity factors? So you are not surprised when you see, let's say, similar property. If you see, just like if you take the property and put it in the air, it looks similar, but the price will be completely different, let's say in Limassol, compared to Paphos or compared to Nicosia. So what are liquidity factors in Cyprus? First of all, it's area. Location, location, location. We know this phrase, but it is true. Let's say if we go in general terms, Limassol will be the most expensive, then we would go Paphos, then we would go Larnaca, Protaras, Ayanapa, and Nicosia is a different animal as a whole. Distance to the sea and amenities. If your property is within walking distance to the sea, it will always be more expensive. If it's within walking distance to amenities, it will be more expensive. But also, what does liquidity means? Liquidity means is not how expensive you can sell. It means how fast you can sell and as close to the market value as possible. So if you're within walking distance, it is more expensive, but it is more desirable. Type of property. Apartments are more in demand if you're looking at simply investment values. Year of construction. There was a huge change in the quality of construction in the recent years, and you can see it. Let's say the houses built 15 years ago, they're completely different quality. And of course, that's why they will be much cheaper. Quality of construction, material, finishes, installations. Let's say, just to give you an example, before there was no it wasn't obligatory to make a proper installation. Now it is. So the modern houses, they are more insulated. In-house amenities, you know, like because of COVID, now we are all aware of the benefits that the in-house amenities are bringing. Let's say if you have pool, playground, gym, parking, it's a huge plus for your personal use, but it also will affect the price. Number of floors. Let's say if you're going into the skyscraper, it will be different pricing compared to a block of flats of 4 floors. Views, covered area, condition, and legal matters. When we take the property for sale, we would always do our own due diligence so we know if there are any issues, if there are any questions, so we can advise accordingly. Now, let's go a little bit to the property associated taxes, okay? Because as you see, we are moving with you in our thought process. So we saw why Cyprus is interesting. We saw what is the process. We saw what affects the price of the real estate. Now let's go to taxes. And in our previous webinar, we had 2 sides of this slide. VAT on a movable property. If you buy new property, there will be VAT. And at the moment, VAT is 19%, but there is an incentive from the government where you only pay reduced VAT 5% for the first property in Cyprus, provided that it's your personal use, that you are not renting it out. And there is no connection to price, covered area, and the budget of the buyer. Now, there are discussions in the parliament, and I believe that very soon there will be changes to this VAT rate. So the discussion is that especially European Union is actually pushing us because they believe that it's not fair that Cyprus is giving 14% discount to any property, regardless of the size, regardless of the budget. And the argument is that when people are buying the property worth 5 million, maybe they shouldn't get the discount. So this is where we are now. I specifically didn't put anything what is under discussion because we don't know whether it will be accepted or not. But watch the space, watch my Instagram page or follow us, and we will definitely share information as soon as it becomes available. If you buy new property with VAT, again, VAT is only on new property when you buy from developer. So if you bought property with VAT, then there is no transfer fees at all. If you buy resale property, then there is title deed transfer fee. Again, I don't want to go into details. We will share with you the presentation. Just keep in mind, if I'm buying resale property, I'm not paying VAT, but I will pay title deeds transfer, and it goes 3, 5, 8%, and then it's divided by half because we have permanent discount of 50%. We always recommend to engage the lawyer or solicitor to help you with the transaction, and the fees is roughly 1%. There is also stamp duty, which is minimal. It's 0.15 up to 171,000 euros and 0.2% for the properties above. And when we do our consultation, we would calculate for you all the fees and taxes that you will need to pay. Taxes and fees, again, we go back to my statement that this is very general information, but you will have to pay annual municipal tax, roughly from 160 and above. Maybe if you have small property, it will be less. There is a sewage tax, roughly 0.3 of the property value. Water bill, again, it can be as low as 15%. And you see, Ioannis, like on this slide, we put the minimum electricity bill will be from 30 euros per month. Communal fees, what we mean, that if you buy a property as part of the little project and there is a swimming pool, by law, you have to pay for the maintenance of the swimming pool and the maintenance of the communal areas. And this can be from 30 euros per month, and it can go much, much higher if your property has lots of communal facilities. If it's your personal personal property, then you can find the gardener and the private pool maintenance, and it will be, let's say, about 100 per month. Again, it depends. Insurance depends on your property, and again, in many cases, insurance is obligatory by law. So, let's go to some examples of properties. Again, the best way to see the properties is to talk to us, visit us in Cyprus, or get information. Okay, and let's say you can get brand new 1-bedroom apartment, 71 square meters in Cyprus from 180,000 plus VAT. You can get fantastic apartment in Limassol from 300,000 plus VAT, 94 square meters. You can get fantastic apartment in Larnaca, 340,000 plus VAT. Again, very nice. Villa in Paphos, 755. But you know, there are so many options and so many beautiful properties that it's like, in a way, it's only just to give you a little taste of the properties that you can get. Okay? So, let's say that you decided that it looks tempting, it looks promising, and you decided to give us a chance and engage us as your advisors for the property purchase and, in general, relocation to Cyprus. The first thing, we would do an online consultation with our property expert, and we have, you saw our team, it's a team that is located in all cities of Cyprus, and they will be able to advise accordingly. We will help you to prepare for your trip, what documents you need for the bank, what documents you need for immigration purposes. We will prepare the trip, preliminary itinerary, legal advice. Come to Cyprus, even though now you will be surprised how many online viewings we make as well. So now COVID taught us how to do perfect online viewing. So viewing the properties, sorting out the paperwork, we will guide you through all the processes of buying the property, and after sales service, if you ever decide to sell the investment in the future, we will be happy to market. We also invite partners to work with us. So if you are real estate agents, we're happy to work with you. And we also do some publications. There was a question above. So we're happy to share publication Island Life, which is all about life in Cyprus, properties, useful contacts, schools, etc. And we also produce quarterly report, Cyprus Residential Market Overview. This is different from most reports. In Cyprus, actually, we have an amazing system when every contract is registered in the land registry. So everyone can check the number of transactions, but the values of transactions and detailed information is not shared. So every quarter, we prepare detailed report only for residential market. We do not go with commercial and industrial. And we show transaction volumes. We show transaction values. We show historic index. This was the question above. And now we're in the process of preparation of the Q1 of 2023. So we will be happy to share with you the report for last year. And in a couple of weeks, we will have the new report ready. And again, we'll be very happy to share with you. On Monday, we have an excellent, fantastic milestone. We opened our office in Limassol. So now we have physical office in Paphos and in Limassol, and physical presence in other cities. And that's it from me. So let's go to questions and answers. and let's go one by one. And please guys, if you have any questions, type in. I will try to answer as much as possible. If not, book your free consultation and we will be happy to answer. Okay, so a question from Samir about the climate during the year. You know, for me, I think it's one of the best climates in the world. Yes, in summer, it can get quite hot, but it becomes very hot only during the heat waves, which will be maybe a couple of weeks during the summer when it's like 36, 37. Mind you, I live in Paphos, which is much milder than Nicosia. Let's say if you're in Nicosia, the heat is much, much higher. Humidity in July, August is quite high if you are near the sea, but if you are in the hills, and Cyprus is quite hilly. So if you are in the hills or in the mountains, you always have a breeze, okay? In winter, it never gets too cold in the areas near the sea, but we have mountains and we have snow there. So in 1.5 hours, we can drive from the beach where we can sunbathe because it will be plus 15, 16. We can go to the mountains and ski. How is rental business for investment properties? Now it's amazing, you know, and I'm very conservative when I'm talking about return on investment, but now Cyprus is becoming more stable. And if you're looking at rental business, you need to consider two types. One is long-term rental, which now the figures are excellent because due to relocation of thousands of people last year to Cyprus, the demand for rental properties is very high. So the rental prices became higher. So return even with long term is excellent. We're talking with you about 5%, in some cases even higher. You can also go for short-term rental, Airbnb style. There is legislation open now, so you can register the property as Airbnb, so it is all clean and legal, and get even higher return. Okay, so question about properties in the village. We do, not everywhere because we are just collecting the properties, but yes, we do not go only for the new one. We like the older properties, and just like recently we listed in Paphos such a beautiful property with so much character. So yes, we go with the villages and not only in the seaside. Okay. Anya, when you say if I pay a monthly charge to the resort, communal fee still applicable, I believe that monthly charge equals to communal fees. It's just different name. Okay. Sarah, welcome. If you're moving to Paphos area, recommend property in Nicosia for investment. You know, Nicosia is a good place for investment if you're looking for long-term rental. But now I think that seaside areas, they are close to it as well, because like Nicosia, it will mainly be for the local demand, so local long-term rentals. So you will have less opportunities for short-term Airbnb style. If you're looking at the seaside cities, you will see more properties like that. And again, when you're talking investment, it's all about the figures. So let's have a consultation. We will discuss with you what return you can get in any areas. Okay. Do you provide help with setting up a company for RE investment? We do not do the legal setup, but we would be happy to advise you to go to the right direction, and we will be happy to find real estate investment for the company. Okay. Look, if you want to buy up to 200K property, you when you get married, then you will be able to cover all the immigration permits. And again, guys, it's not about the countries. Everything is very clear. There is European, because Cyprus is part of EU, so this is one block, and there are non-European countries, regardless of which country it is. Okay. How does one manage investment property when living far away? That's such an excellent question. Yes, there are property management companies and there are very good ones. So let's say when we choose the properties for sale, when we do our listing agreements, we would always mark the quality of the management company, and we will be very happy to share. And thank you very much for your thank yous. You know, this feedback is very important to us. And Sarah, we have our office in Paphos. You are welcome, and everyone is welcome to visit us. In Paphos or in Limassol. Okay. Question: for resale property, for resale properties, is there any? Nicholas, of course. So let's say that when the initial buyer bought a property and he paid VAT on it, for his cash flow, he spent this money. So when he is reselling it, in most cases, he is considering it in the price that he sells. Of course, there are a lot of peculiarities because in November there was a new changes to VAT law, and in certain cases VAT goes even on the resale properties, but let's not confuse each other. If there is specific question, come and we will be happy to help. Okay, so where are you from originally? Originally I'm from Russia, but I've been living in Cyprus for the last 22 years. Public schools in Polis, yes, there is a public school in Polis, and it's quite good. So guys, it's 18:01. We managed to finish everything in 1 hour. I want to thank you for being such a wonderful audience and for sending wonderful questions. I want to invite you to visit us anytime you are in Cyprus. Even if you don't want to buy property, just come and have coffee with us. We love welcoming people, and book your free consultation if you want to find out more. So thank you very much and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye.